Moral plurality incorporated into artificial intelligence. This is a subject of much debate, and I hope you have the opportunity to think this through, as should we all. First, a brief overview on AI ethics. What comprises morality? What is it that morality is made up of? Morality is dependent upon context. Every context has its own set of implications, and as such, its own set of values and morals and potentially cultures and their considerations of these things. What is moral pluralism? I first heard of moral pluralism from Stephen Hawking, a doctor who thought much about humans' implications in their cosmological environment and the way we interface with each other is defined by the contexts of those environments. It is actually the job of the AI ethicist to both realize and codify these moral considerations appropriate to the application, and I should mention the environment. So what is religion as a cultural baseline? What good is that? Religion shows us the commonality, the fulfilled latency of our pluralism of cultures and pluralism of moralities and values, and gave us religions give us a place where we can exercise these commonalities as one. And as such, this clustering effect leads to an efficiency within our culture. Possibly. The plurality of cultures. There are religions, there are movements, there are conflicting religions, there are pervasive organizations. Some of these are all institutionalized, although some of these are all not. Some of the subcultures of each of these are not institutionalized, and yet they are in their own cultures nonetheless. Then there's issue-based cultural morality. We drill down a little bit into some of the more issue-driven disparities between, say, cultural groups and their moralities and values. Then there are cultural moralities and cultures, subcultures, that value certain things over others. And those cultures themselves have their own moralities. So that leads us into the next bit, which is define your own moral code. What are your values? What are your issues? What are the cultures you like to be part of? What are these issues that your values blend in with? Subsequently, what are your profession's morals? What are your business morals? Do your morals match with your work? Define this and you have your own moral code, your own morality. So we move on to the didactic, so to speak, of how are moral values encoded for the sake of AI ethics or roboethics. Moral values must be derived. So once you have your values, you must break them down. You must consider them. You must not only consider them, you must then value them. So for the sake of identification, for the sake of breaking down the valuation and the reference between each moral, purely for the purposes of eliduction, for example, to make things clearer, it helps to break these things down. But when you do so, you benefit your creation as well. There are both pros and cons to using either priority or non-priority methods for encoded moral values for an artificial intelligence. The pros of using a priority method are that the artificial intelligence will use all of the available plurality of morals available to any number. If the system is prioritized and ranked, then the entirety is easily managed by an artificial intelligence. Similarly, if deep reinforcement learning is used, conflicts may or may not be mitigated by the AI's training. The AI is imperfect, yet algorithmic changes and efficiency and power changes, which I'll talk about perhaps in a later video, may be able to mitigate conflicts for us. Pros of using a non-priority method: combination-enabled morals will also be used when available, which is to say if there is a conflict and it is able to be combined, then that conflict is both accounted for and yet also useful. Simultaneous evaluation of morals can also occur via combinations, which is to say if you have the processor and the capability to manage the multiple events as part of your artificial intelligence, you can then evaluate multiple events simultaneously. Which is to say that microseconds and milliseconds are far different. So in conclusion, the European Union, the United States, and academia all recommend an evaluation of moral values within a moral context. These evaluations are often applied to the AI users or creators themselves, yet they should be applied to the artificial intelligences directly, and I believe as part of the system. As such, there is a need for establishing an 8-bit, quote-unquote, evaluation of moral values and any conflicts via combinatorics. Either carefully hand-programmed methods or machine learning methods, such as deep reinforcement learning, may be used. Both priority and non-priority moral evaluation models will be effective. There are still scientific questions and studies to be done, and in the end, which model should be used in a broad sense will be determined.